Good morning, everyone. To those of you returning, welcome back. To those of you joining us anew, welcome to the Summit on Modern Conflict and Emerging Threats. I'm Jennifer Larson, a professor in the Political Science Department here at Vanderbilt. We have an exciting day today. We spent yesterday thinking about the complexity of modern threats, the urgency of studying them carefully, with a special focus on cyber threats. Today, we have a very exciting schedule that should further broaden our understanding of these important modern threats. Kicking off our day is someone we heard from yesterday in the opening remarks, also someone we heard from on the panel that I shall now think of as the silo-busting panel, also known as the Interdisciplinary Approaches to Conflict panel. We're lucky to have him again to kick off our day, so please join me in welcoming the 9th Chancellor of Vanderbilt University, Daniel Diermeier.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Jen, for the kind introduction. And I should say that Jennifer Larson is one of our rising stars in the political science department. She works on networks and their consequence in politics, including protest, ethnic conflict. And she's also the director of undergraduate studies, which is a very important role here at Vanderbilt. So good morning to all of you, and welcome to the second day of the Summit on Modern Conflicts and Emerging Threats. Today's session begins with a unique global perspective on the future of cyber defense. Our keynote speaker this morning is Kersti Kaljulaid. Did I pronounce that correctly? Close enough, good. Who served as president of Estonia from 2016 to 2021. During her term in office, and continuing to this day, President Kaljulaid was a prominent leader on cyber topics, both in her own country and throughout Europe. I will give her a proper introduction in a couple of minutes. But first, I want to reflect on yesterday's sessions, which I think we had an excellent day yesterday. General Nakasoni's keynote delivered an excellent overview of the nature of future threats to our nation and our world, particularly in the digital realm. That was bookended with the concluding presentation by Major General Hartman discussing tactics for countering these emerging threats in a strategic way. You also heard from Sybil Raver, Vanderbilt's Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, connecting the shifting global security landscape with the collaborative research and innovation taking place right here on campus. In addition, we listened to insights from panels with leading experts ranging from cyber threats to the history of security policy in the 20th century. Listening to all these remarks, in engaging with fellow panelists on interdisciplinary approaches to modern conflict, it reaffirmed my strong belief in the power of universities to make a profound contribution to addressing humanity's greatest challenges. But as universities, we do not and cannot operate in a vacuum. As one of the world's leading research institutions, it is imperative that we fulfill our duty as a center of discovery and invention, as well as being a catalyst of innovation and advancement. We do this by convening panels and summits such as these, bringing together the leading minds on a variety of critical topics. We do this by maintaining connections with public agencies, with private industry, and with fellow researchers so that new findings can be tested and shared, or new challenges can be identified and solved. And we do this importantly through our educational mission, placing thousands of extremely talented graduates and researchers in key positions around the globe each and every year, and continuing to engage with them throughout their life's journey. Our afternoon keynote speaker, Dr. James Crow, is representative of these ideals. A globally renowned virologist, Dr. Crow is leading a group of leading scientists from around the world to develop a truly path-breaking universal vaccine that can prevent diseases ranging from seasonal flu to Ebola and Zika. Most recently, he partnered with AstraZeneca to make monoclonal antibody treatments for COVID-19, developed in his lab, available to patients with compromised immune system or adverse reactions to COVID-19 vaccines. Today, he will provide an overview of some of his path-breaking antibody technologies and how they could be used to combat emerging infections as well as the threat of biological weapons. Before that, Kirsty Calulate will offer an assessment of where the world stands in relation to cyber defense today and address some of the pressing issues lurking on the horizon. Prior to being elected to serve as Estonia's president, she was a member of the European Court of Auditors and held top positions in energy, investment banking, and telecom sectors. Former President Calulate is a sought-after speaker on human rights, foreign policy, and digital security. We're honored to have her with us today. Former President Calulate will be speaking today with Brett Benson, Associate Professor of Political Science and Asian Studies here at Vanderbilt. Professor Benson's research interests lie in the areas of international relations, Chinese politics, and East Asian studies. He has worked on military alliances and interstate conflict, and his current research focuses on the role of weapons system in international politics. Before we hear from them, I'd like to take a moment to thank all of you. The perspective you bring to this forum are invaluable, and my hope is that between yesterday's session and today's excellent speakers and panelists, all of you will walk away with some new perspective or spark that leads you to think differently about your own work. And while this is the final day of this event, I hope that all of us keep this vital conversation going in the weeks and months ahead. And now I turn it over to Kirsty Calulate.